let's go through a case study of a real life deal that kind of went through a lot of these bullet points. I'm going to call on Alex and John for a little bit of help here to remind me. So we had this deal. John was sending out mailers, right? He was sending out mailers in and around his house because he likes to market about an hour from his house. Canton, Ohio was about 2 hours for you. Just didn't want to do the deal?
Nope.
Just didn't?
Yeah, too far, too small.
So for John, it was too far and too small. So it didn't work for him. And then you presented it to the SRI group, which I don't remember. I tried finding it. I don't know how to navigate the damn Mighty Networks, but either way, apparently you presented to the SRI group. Nobody here in this room took the bait. Nobody bid on it. Nobody wanted it. So then somehow organically a conversation somehow sparked between me, you, and Alex, right? Of, well, how can we partner on this deal? And we did a lot of DD on the deal. We explored a lot of options. It's about 9,000 square feet, 2 acres of land, fully occupied. The demands were 3.5 and a 5.1 and a 3 mile. And it was definitely a mom and pop operation. I mean, paper ledgers, the whole nine. There was a lot of things going on here that we started to look at and try to figure out, well, what could we do, right? Like there's all this land for expansion. Oddly enough, I didn't do a good screenshot, but back here, there's like another quasi storage facility, other operators in the area. So one of the things I did was we started underwriting it. And I know one of the terms that you had initially discussed with her was that she was willing to owner finance it at $420,000, but there was a caveat to it. Why? What is it? 2 years, and she wanted an interest rate on it, right? No interest. Yeah, and then a lot of the problem with that then was the additional capital to expand, right? Like because there's a lot of room to expand on this site. That was the discussion of, well, where's the additional capital? What does that look like to expand these sites? There was a lot of, well, is this even going to work as a deal to expand? Everything tells us that it should. Then we went through, and then it was $400,000 cash. She was pretty easy to work with. So we tried working through a way to structure this deal of figuring out how could we bring cash through the door? How could we bring partners in? And there was just too many moving parts because the expansion on that site, I think, was a couple $100,000 just for the first phase, just to do this square in here was a couple $100,000, not to mention the rest of it. So that's what began to become the issue. So we decided to wholesale the deal. After a lot of discussion, Pardo picked up, he handled the title company. John was handling the seller. I knew a guy that was local to us in Maryland who was super excited to do a deal. Brought it to him. I think he's an SRU. We negotiated a term. We told him $495,000. We locked it up at $400,000, and ultimately we wound up taking a $95,000 wholesale fee and retaining 15% to help him with this deal. One thing I will say is when I got out there, I kind of had seller's remorse. It was actually a pretty cool site. There's a lot of room to expand. There was a lot of parking. So one thing I would say is always get eyes on your facilities. As much as everyone thinks they can do it without getting eyes, you've got to get eyes on sites because it was a really cool deal. And yes, we got him to put in box wells here. He ordered about 8,000 square feet of box well units in that area because he didn't feel like dealing with the construction. After the first expansion, it should be worth 1 to 1.2. So it's a good single for him. It goes back to what Ken was talking about, swinging the bat. And then if he goes through here and finishes that expansion back here, which that's where I got really excited because there's tons of room for parking. The demographic was a little tight, so I'm kind of glad we didn't do it. However, I think he's going to have a lot of success here. So again, that goes back to the same way, you guys are looking at maybe sellers retaining equity. When you're wholesaling a deal, you could still pick up a fee and retain equity as well on that.